Hey guys, Becky with Design Bundles here, and I'm super excited to have you join me today because we have another great Silhouette Studio tutorial. Today we are going to explain to you and show you how to use cut by color. Okay guys, so this is going to be one of the easiest videos I've showed you in a long time. Now, I need to go ahead and start off by telling you that cut by color and cut by layer, we won't talk a whole lot about that today, but we are talking about cut by color, and it is a feature of the Designer Edition upgrade. So if you have the basic edition of Silhouette Studio, that is fine, but it just means you need to check out this video, and this may be a feature that you're worth upgrading for. Now, of course, we do have a full video to tell you all of the comparison features and how to upgrade Silhouette Studio. So I'll link that down in the description for you, but I just wanted to go ahead and get that off my chest and let you guys know that this is an upgraded feature. That way there's no confusion. Now, I have a multi-layer SVG here. If I ungroup this SVG, you'll notice that I have all these different parts. Okay. Now, the only reason I specified that is because I didn't want anybody to think that this was clip art. This is an SVG, so therefore I can break it apart and all of these pieces have their own cut lines. But for these purposes, I'm going to go ahead and leave it grouped. So I'm going to switch over to the send panel, okay? And once I get here, you'll see, like I said, everything lights up in red. And what I want to pay attention to is right underneath my top toolbar where it says Design, Store, Library, Send. It says Simple, Line, Fill, and Layer. Okay, so simple is what you see here. Simple is what most people are used to cutting on, and that's okay because it's simple. It's very easy. That's what we know. What we're going to explore today is how to cut by color. Now, we can either designate a line color. In this portion, I don't have a line color set up, so you're not seeing anything, but it works the exact same. I'm going to click over to the fill color, and now you will see that everything here is broken down into colors. So I can actually, what I do is I start off the very top unchecking box, and that will deselect everything here. So now I want you to see if I click on black, it only highlights the black cut line. That means that it's only going to cut out the line that is in black. Do the same thing with red. If I check red, only the red cut lines turn bold. White, beige, gray, they all do the exact same thing. Now, that can sometimes be confusing because some of the lighter colors like white and gray, even the beige, you cannot see those very well, not like you can the red. All right, the red and the black and bolder colors is very obvious when you hit that checkbox. Okay. This is also very useful because not only can you select what it is you're cutting, but you can select different materials and different tools if you need to. So for example, I will cut the black in smooth heat transfer vinyl. Now I have a custom preset for that, so that's what I will select. For these punch marks, that's not actually a tool that I'm going to use with you today, so we're going to leave that completely unchecked. Red, maybe we will cut out of heat transfer glitter. And white will be a different type of heat transfer vinyl, a different brand. So we will use the heat transfer smooth. And the same with the beige. And then for gray, maybe we will do that in flocked. So now in between each layer, and this is the order that everything will cut in, because we will select black, cut it, come back, select red, cut it, okay? And we will be able to go through and cut out all of these different materials without needing to adjust our cut settings in between. Now, this part is what I consider the more advanced part of cut by color. So definitely you can use cut by color just as we have, but buckle your seatbelt because it gets a lot more interesting from here. Now, in addition to that, I can actually set multiple layers and I can insert pauses to give me a chance to change what material I have on the mat. So if I have selected all of my cut lines, and I have, and then say the red, I can add a pause and it will add a pause after. So I can do that, and I can add a pause after each color, since technically I will need to unload my mat and load the new color material and then load the mat back into the machine. The only one that I don't need is I did put a pause after the gray, so if you need to remove a pause, you can right click and just click remove pause. So we basically have created a workflow here. I can select whatever color, I can select whatever material, and I can hit a pause afterwards so that I can cut all these back to back without updating my material settings in between each cut. So now one of the questions becomes, why would you want to go to all this trouble? I'm not going to lie, it's actually a lot of setup if you're talking about using it to this extent. But it is one of those things that if you use it often enough, or if you cut a lot of designs that are multi-layer with different materials, then this can be very, very useful. This is actually, in my opinion, pretty similar to the setup that you get when you use a Cricut cutting machine, because their software already does this for you. So if you're coming from a Cricut to a Silhouette, then this may already be familiar, and it may be something that you want to take a few minutes to set up when you're cutting these types of designs. Most people are not going to go to this extent because, let's face it, usually when we are cutting a material, very rarely will we use this many different materials in one cut file. However, it is very, very useful to use whenever you are doing multiple layers, especially if you are working on a design that you are layering using registration boxes, because, and I have a video set up on how to set up registration boxes for layering your vinyl, but let me just show you. Using registration boxes is basically drawing these little boxes that will help you to line up your design after cutting. So in my video, I show you that you can actually set this up to where you duplicate this design and you end up with multiple designs broke down using the same registration boxes. So if you need help with that, if you have the basic edition, then please check out that video. I will link it for you below in the description. But if you have Designer Edition or higher, then even if all of this was going to be cut from the same material, I would still be able to use this to keep my registration boxes in the same area. Now let me tell you what I would do in that case. I would still start off with unchecking my top box, and I would go ahead and find my registration boxes. That's these boxes right up here at the top, and then I would be able to check black. Now what that means is it would cut both registration boxes and cut the black outline. When that's done, I can uncheck the black and move on to my next color. Now in that case, then you would actually not need all of these pauses, because this is not a workflow that you would automate. This is a workflow that you would go in each time and select the color that you're cutting. That way you can select the color and the registration boxes. So once I'm done with the red, I would unload, leave the registration boxes checked, and move on to the white. And that is very important, because when you're using the registration boxes, the key behind the whole process is that your design stays lined up. That way when you line up your registration boxes, the rest of your design will follow. So doing it this way and using your cut by color really allows you to make sure that absolutely under no circumstances are those registration boxes going to be cut in the wrong place. Now I told you that there was also a cut by layer. We have not really explored layers too much in Silhouette Studio with you guys in the videos, but I will bring you a video and we will talk to you about setting up layers, what layers are, and when you would use the cut by layer. But just know that it's not very common, but I know when you're up here and you're looking at these options, you would have asked yourself, what is the cut by layer? And I promise that will be a video that we have coming in the very near future. So guys, I'm going to link those two videos for you, and of course, we will go ahead and do the wrap up. So guys, how do you feel now that you know about cut by color? It is really an underutilized tool, I'll be honest with you. Not a lot of people know that it's there, and it's one of those things that once you learn about it, next time you start doing multicolor projects, just try to keep it in mind. You know, I know that we are kind of old dogs set in our ways, and hopefully this will reach a few of you and let you think outside the box so that you can make things easier on yourself when you're working with those multicolor designs. Of course, if you have any questions or comments, please make sure you leave those below. I do love to hear from you guys. And if you don't mind, if you have a quick second, go ahead and share this video with a crafty friend who would really benefit from learning a thing or two in Silhouette Studio, because that is our ultimate goal. We really want to help you guys out. And of course, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'm going to wrap it up. But thanks again, guys. Thanks for stopping by. We will see you again next time.